Alright, what's happening everybody? It's your man Akeen again, and I'm back for today's second blog of the Sports News Insider College Football Blog. For this video, I need to talk about the games of the week. Normally I have one game of the week, but for this week I have two very key important matchups that can be the deciding factor for the BCS National Championship. I believe that these two games are title eliminators for the first week of college football already. The first game I want to talk about is Boise State coming into the Georgia Dome to face the number 19 ranked Georgia Bulldogs. Now this is a lot of big key matchup, especially for Boise State. Kellen Moore, he led the nation last season in passing efficiency, and he's facing up against a good upcoming quarterback in Aaron Murray, who had 24 touchdowns last season along with 3,000 passing yards. He's a great quarterback, and this is a great duel between both teams. But the key matchup that you need to watch this game is between Boise State center Thomas Byrd and Georgia nose tackle Kwame Gaithers. Now this is a key matchup because Gaithers, he's a behemoth, 6'6", 350 pounds, facing up against a 5'11", 390-pound senior. Now Thomas Byrd is an all-wac contender last season. He's a great center for the Boise State Broncos. Now the thing that he has advantage over Kwame Gaithers is that he has the leverage over him. Plus he has a lot of experience. Gaithers is just a sophomore this season, a redshirt sophomore. But like I said, Gaithers is a big guy, 350 pounds at 6'6". Now this is going to be a key matchup because if Gaithers breaks that line of scrimmage, Kellen Moore is going to have a long night against the Georgia Bulldogs. But I have to tell you this, an X factor for this game are the Boise State receivers. Last season, Austin Pettis and Titus Young led the way for the receivers, but they're no longer with the team. They are now part of the NFL. So Kellen Moore is needed to depend on new and upcoming receivers for this game, and I think this is going to be a great matchup. For this game, I'm going to have to go with Boise State because I think Kellen Moore and Boise are hungry this season. Plus, I believe that this is the last year for Coach Peterson chances of making it to that BCS run into a national title, because Kellen Moore is a senior this season, and I think he needs to leave his career at Boise State with a bang, get into a BCS game, and even a national championship. And Boise State is going to have a lot of recognition if they beat Georgia this game. They don't have a lot of national televised games this season, but this is going to be a big game for this year for the Boise State Broncos, and if they win this game, they could be on the road getting to that national championship. So I have to go with Boise State on this one. The second game that you have to watch is between number 3 Oregon against LSU. This is going to be a game at Cowboy Stadium in Arlington, Texas. This is going to be a key matchup. Number 3 ranked team against the number 4 ranked team. Now we all know about the Oregon Ducks with their speed offense. They led the nation last season with 47 points per game. And LSU, they're one of the toughest teams in the SEC, and they have a great defensive line. And that is the key matchup for this game. The defensive line for LSU and on the offensive line of Oregon. Last season in that BCS National Championship, Oregon got crushed in that offensive line against the Auburn Tigers. Michael James was just held to just 49 yards rushing when he had over 1,700 yards altogether last season, with just 49 yards rushing in that title game. Because of that, the havoc that the defensive line wrecked at from Auburn, Nick Fairley in particular, and Kenyon Barner nor James can get anywhere, and he really needs to develop good holes for this game in order for the Ducks to win. They have a lot of speed, but I have to give you a little side note about LSU. For the past 8 seasons, an NFL team has drafted at least one player from the defensive line, and that's going to be a key factor for LSU. I think with the defensive line, I think they could get to that line of scrimmage, penetrate that line of scrimmage, cause a little bit of problems for Oregon. That is the key matchup. Now, a couple of players that you really need to look at, I already mentioned on Michael James, but the X factor for this game is Kenyon Barner, the second string running back. Last season, he had a big game against New Mexico in that first week one of last season, and he is a home run threat every time he touches the football. You definitely got to keep an eye on him. Do not forget about Kenyon Barner, because if Michael James was not part of that starting offense, Kenyon Barner would have been that guy. He averages 6.5 yards per carry, a home run threat. He is the X factor for this game. Now, a couple of key losses for both teams. For starting with Oregon, they are not going to play without All-American cornerback Cliff Harris. He's suspended for the first game, so which means Terrence Mitchell is going to have to step up. He's a no-name guy, but I think this is his time to step up in the national spotlight and show the world what he can do. And he's going to be playing up against top returning receiver Ruben Randall for LSU. And for LSU, they're not going to be playing without their quarterback Jordan Jefferson and receiver Russell Shepard. Both players are suspended for the first game for the season. At least for the first game for Jordan Jefferson, he's not going to play. He's a good dual threat quarterback who has developed his passing game during the spring practice sessions. But they have a good backup quarterback in Jarrett Lee, and I believe he's a better passer than Jordan Jefferson. But he's only one-dimensional quarter. He is only a one-dimensional quarterback because he's only good with his arm. He's not good mobile quarterback like Jordan Jefferson. And I think they really need Jordan Jefferson for this matchup to have a good dual threat to match up with Darren Thomas. Darren Thomas had 30 touchdown passes last season and had over 500 yards rushing. He's a great dual threat, and they need somebody to match up against Darren Thomas. So for this game, I'm gonna have to go with Oregon speed. I think the overall team speed will outplay LSU. Plus, with all the allegations LSU just recently had, they had less time than Oregon had to brush it off their shoulders. Oregon had to deal with some allegations earlier in the season, but that was over a month ago, so they had some time to recruit. But LSU, they just recently had allegations and had problems, so I think there's going to be a big factor that could cause them to lose this matchup, and this is an important game. So I'm going to have to go with Oregon in this one. Now, I'm going to give you a recap video on Tuesday. I normally would give you a recap video on Monday, but Maryland's going to be playing against Miami, and I'm going to give you the recap game after that game to talk about the games over this past weekend. And I'll catch you out next week. From Sports News Insider, thank you for watching today's vlog. I'm your man, the famous Akeem McCall. Be easy.